According to statistics, by the age of 35, 2/3 of men would have experienced some form of male pattern baldness. It's a lot of people. And by the age of 50, over 85% of men would have experienced the same. And having been welcomed into the Receding Hairline Club at the age of like 20, I've had some time to think about the best ways to style, the best haircuts to have, and generally how to prepare yourself for. Now, if you're a young man, it can mean the end of the world to you. The first moment you see just that little bit more forehead can scare you like nobody's business. A lot of people, this is the first time they felt mortal. It could feel like the end of the world. And I don't need to tell you, it's definitely not. It doesn't help me saying this at all. But what I can offer is my experience, also suggestions for reasons to be positive about this. There are plenty of guys with receding hair, thinning hair that look fucking great. And even if you go full chrome down, there's some people that look great too. So I just wanted to go through some tips, some tricks, some pitfalls, and also some great looks for men with receding hairlines, balding heads, all that sort of stuff. So the first tip, embrace it. Now, there are many different ways to prevent and reduce hair loss. There's companies such as Hims that are out now, Keeps, they're all over the place. And hair transplants as well. It's not something I've ever wanted to go down for the, and this is not medical advice, for the pills that you take, the Propecia and the minoxidil. Minoxidil is a bit funky, and you have to put it on every day, and if you don't put it on, then it just reverses. Do you really want to do that? It also, especially if you are thinning, the stuff you put in, spray you put in, can make you look thinning because it gives you sort of wet, crusty feel like you've put gel in your hair. So that's the topical stuff. You can take it orally, but there's tons of side effects. For Propecia, which is the one that really is the good stuff, there's a lot of studies that have shown, the thing is, there's not enough studies, so we don't know for sure, but there's a lot of studies that have shown that if you come off it, there's some significant depression issues. Read up on it, ask your doctor. I'm not the sort of person to tell you that sort of stuff, but when I looked through it, it put me off. As someone that's suffered with anxiety and mental health issues in the past, it's not something I want to risk. I'd rather sleep well at night and just make do with what I've got. And in terms of transplants, again, it's a big surgery. It's becoming not such a big deal nowadays, and that's fine. It's just not something I'm particularly keen to do. All options, and it is becoming more affordable. Just be careful, obviously, and especially if you're heading out to Turkey or places like that, do your research. But for the guys who are just going to stick it out, ride the wave, there's a positive future for you. So here's some tips, really. First up, embrace it. This is a thing that's happened. It's natural. It happens to, as I say, like 85% of the guys, the majority of men out there, and there's nothing to be worried about. Women you're worried about, there's plenty of women that love guys with bald heads. But what I would say is you're just going to make the most of it. So in terms of actual grooming itself, taking the side shorter can really be effective in terms of not making it look like, so this is the longest I'll let my hair grow, and actually you can start to see there's like this thing, which you can end up looking like Sven-Goran Eriksson at a certain point, which is not really a great look. So if you take the sides in, leave the top a little bit longer, if that's the style you want to go for, it can be really effective. The next thing is literally not letting it grow too long, especially if you've got a little patch at the back, or if you're starting to thin. Letting it grow long will weirdly make it look a lot thinner. So getting that sort of length right, using textured haircuts, your hairdresser will be able to advise you on this one, so it's all like choppy, will really help as well, because it just thatches a little bit more together, just shows a little bit less. Using matte clay rather than anything like wet or gel, another big important one, and that's another reason why using that spray stuff for your hair can sometimes not be that great. Yeah, just using matte, don't put too much on, just a little bit in the areas, and just keep it super simple. Then the next thing is obviously, I don't need to tell you this, but you're probably going to keep an eye on it. And to be honest, you've got to agree with yourself a point where you decide to go, let's take it off. Because the absolute last thing you should be doing is trying to hide too much. The comb overs of the world, which thankfully aren't a big thing nowadays. You don't want to be shocking people and making people do that look up, especially if you're on a date. You want to see that. You've been hiding it, like patting you down your hairline. Be honest with yourself, be honest with other people. It's a natural thing. We'll go for some images as well, which I think look great on people, and yeah, embrace it. And then use it as a stepping stone to a different version of yourself. So if you are getting to a certain age, I think, so I was super young when I started noting a little bit of receding hairline, and I'm now 36 nearly. I started to look at how I'm gonna dress well beyond this, how I'm gonna use all the other tools that I have to make myself look and feel better. I know it sounds stupid, but it's a thing. It's a natural thing. Look at yourself. Look at your physical shape. If you're in shape, if you're able to get yourself that little bit fitter, feel better about yourself, your confidence will be so much better. Dressing more age appropriate as well. Like, I'm not one to judge this, but I felt personally dressing at that little bit older, looking at beyond sort of like streetwear and stuff like that and into tailoring or something in that region, just made me look and feel better, more mature, fitting into my just right age and right sort of, it just felt right. It gave me more confidence. Facial hair's your friend. Keep it tidy, keep it trim. I mean, if you're into more sort of rustic, sort of like outdoorsy look, then a good old big beard is great as well. Lastly, a good tan helps. So it doesn't mean you should be getting on the sunbeds. There are plenty of good options for men for like a little bit of fake tan, and or if you live in a hot country, great. Just be careful, just be responsible. Right, so let's look at some guys who have receding hair, thinning hair, who look pretty good, in my opinion, who are people that I would like look towards. And a bit of a disclaimer, some of these guys would have had procedures and used medication or whatever, but you can physically see that they are receding or have been at some point. So the first up is the number one, it's Jude Law. The guy's been receding since he's been a very young age. He's managed to keep it for a reasonable amount of time, but he doesn't hide it. It's a really big one. Most of the time he doesn't hide it. I wouldn't be surprised if he's had a procedure or two, but that doesn't really matter. The guy's shaved his head at periods of times. He's used his slight curls to not overly smarten up. So if he wants to go casual, he's used his curls, his texture a bit, which has been really helpful for him. And then when he wants to go smart, he slicks it over. Think of talented Mr. Ripley. He's not scared to show it. And all right, he's a good looking guy, but there are lessons to be learned there. Right, so next up is Ryan Reynolds, who, again, I think he's had a procedure. But anyway, this particular look is one you may have seen before if you're like a Pinterest fiend like me. Super tight, cropped, got the sort of receding bits here, but keeping it really, really short is a good look. Just in terms of, like, there's not much going on there. You're giving everything away. You're showing off that you're confident in the hair you wear. It's smart, it's clean. A bit of a beard helps as well. I think this is a great look. Another one's Daniel Craig. Keeps it super short, especially in the Bond films, and I think he's a really good example for someone that's had a bit of a glow up in terms of physical shape. When he started doing the Bond films, he's in ridiculous shape. I'm not suggesting that that's what you need to do, but you can see how much it helps. A bit of a tan as well, keeps his hair cut very short, but also cuts it regularly, and just a little swipe over there. Again, it's a great simple look, and he looks great. And of course, the idol, Stanley Tucci. He's been completely skinhead for a long time, looks great. Really nice pair of glasses just to frame his face, and that's another thing I'd recommend as well to look into if you wear glasses. Dresses immaculately, dresses his age, but also cares about himself. He's in great shape, the way he conducts himself and holds himself. These are all the things that will really help you in your confidence. And if you're concerned about it, focus on the positives about you. Don't focus on the hairline. Don't keep checking. Don't keep worrying about it. It's going to be fine. You're going to just focus on all the positive attributes you have. Accentuate them, make them better, dress better. Just focus on that, and you will feel more confident, and you won't even worry about that kind of thing. But anyway, I hope that helps. Any questions, drop a comment below. Get in touch with us. Check out the store, archeryandwoods.com. Also, please like and subscribe because it really helps me make videos and keeps the store running. Speak to you soon. Cheers.